self-assist ribs down breath work. So what we're doing here is actually using our own hands to just kind of facilitate the lower ribs, so those ribs 8 through 12, to internally rotate and just come down a bit more as we exhale. By using our own hands, we can kind of give our ribs a bit more mobility and feedback in the direction that we want them to go when we start to exhale. We can use this when our ribs are in a more flared position and not wanting to move when we exhale. And we can also use this during early postpartum when we're really trying to facilitate some great excursions of the diaphragm during exhalation. So you're going to start laying on your back. You're going to have your knees gently bent. You should have your feet flat on the ground. I'm just showing you this a little bit up closer so that you can actually see what's going on with my rib cage. The first thing that we want to think about is that we do want to get a slight posterior tilt of the pelvis. So all I'm doing is rolling my pelvis underneath and up towards my rib cage. Now from here, what I'm going to do is when I exhale, I'm going to take each one of my palms and I'm going to place it on the side of my body. I'm going to take my fingers and just kind of gently place them over top those lower ribs. So you can see where these ribs are really kind of sticking out and they're pretty flary up at the top right now. My goal is to gently assist them to come just slightly in, but then also I want to get my ribs to be able to be flush with my abdomen by the time that I exhale. So I'm going to use gentle pressure for my hands to assist in making that happen. So here I'm going to inhale and then exhale. Inhale again. Exhale. Now, a few things to keep in mind. When you are exhaling, even though we are kind of guiding the ribs and helping them to just come a little bit more together and down, we don't want that to send any extra pressure down towards our pelvic floor. So we still need that deep core to zip from the bottom up as we continue to exhale. The other thing to keep in mind is that we don't want to crunch down. So when we start to guide the ribs down, sometimes we'll have a tendency to crunch and really grip with our upper abs. So we want to think about that sternum remaining parallel to the ground, even though we're helping to kind of guide the ribs. So again, I can kind of just try and do it like with one hand and show you what it looks like. So I'm going to tilt my pelvis up towards my rib cage. Then on that inhale, I'm just kind of thinking about a really nice even expansion everywhere. So I wouldn't want to see my belly popping out a lot more than my ribs, and I wouldn't want to see my chest popping out a lot more than my belly. So I just want that even expansion all over on that inhale. And then I'm going to exhale. And so then when I look at my ribs here, so you can see how they're a lot more flush with my abdomen than when I first started. You could really see them jutting out at the top. You can still see them a little bit here, but they're really not as flary in that position. And I can really feel a little bit of tension here on my sides or my obliques, kind of pulling them down and in. And I can also still talk, which means I'm not gripping anything too much or really using a maximum effort. And I have my deep core nice and zipped up, and that's how you do it.